Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the entire life you know is just an invention? Yes, an invention. I'm not talking about science fiction or virtual reality, but about this reality where you wake up, work, consume, and fall asleep believing you're in control. Plato would say we live inside a cave, and the shadows we see on the walls are reflections of a world we've never questioned. But what if those shadows are our beliefs, our fears, the patterns we repeat without realizing it? And what if the sensible world, the one where everything ages, fades, and dies, is just an imperfect echo of the true world, the intelligible world, where eternal ideas, the good, beauty, and truth dwell? We are taught to chase success, status, likes, validation. But no one asks, what is the good? What is the soul? What is the true purpose of being alive? We live trapped in noise, forgetting that philosophy, the search for wisdom, is the way back home. Modern life has turned admiration into distraction. We mistake the glow of the screen for the glow of consciousness. And the farther we drift from contemplation, the more we lose harmony with the cosmos, with divine reason, with that which gives meaning to existence itself. But maybe there's still a way back. A way of seeing the world through the eyes of the soul, light, curious, awake. Get ready. What you're about to discover may change everything you believe about reality, about the universe, and about yourself. There comes a moment in life when the world stops being magical. The child looks at the sky and marvels. The adult looks at the same sky and says, clouds. Plato would call this the forgetting of the soul, the moment we trade wonder for habit, mystery for explanation, wisdom for haste. When we were children, everything was new. The sound of rain felt like music, the wind had a soul, and the stars held secrets. But we grew up, and routine taught us to name the invisible. We lost our sense of wonder, which, as Socrates said, is the beginning of philosophy. Without wonder, there are no questions. Without questions, there is no wisdom. Today, we live in the age of instant answers. We search on Google but never dive within ourselves. We know the names of the constellations but forget to gaze at the sky. It's the illusion of knowledge without consciousness, a knowing that informs but does not transform. Plato saw the soul as a winged being that at birth forgets the eternal ideas and thus begins to seek them throughout life. This is what he called reminiscence. To learn is, in truth, to remember. When we feel wonder, something within us awakens. It's the memory of the divine trying to emerge into the sensible world. We ignore this calling and live distracted, imprisoned by the shadows of the modern cave, notifications, comparisons, consumption. The result is emptiness. The soul becomes heavy, tired, out of harmony, but there's a philosophical solution: to relearn how to see, to look at the ordinary as if it were the first time, with wonder and admiration. Philosophical wisdom is born when our gaze becomes pure again, when we understand that knowing isn't about collecting data, but about recognizing the essence of everything. The child we once were still lives within us, waiting for us to stop running and finally contemplate. And you, have you ever tried looking at the world again through the eyes of the soul? Have you noticed how the simple act of existing is, in itself, a miracle? Plato said that the sensible world, the one we touch, feel, and call real, is only an imperfect reflection of the intelligible world, where the good, truth, and beauty dwell. But we've forgotten that. We spend our days as if the cosmos were just a mechanical system, and not a living work of divine reason. Think of something simple, the beating of the heart. Thousands of times a day, it pulses without you having to remember. That small act is a reminder that there's harmony sustaining everything, what Plato would call cosmic order. But modern life has turned that harmony into noise. We're surrounded by information and yet disoriented, not from lack of data, but from lack of contemplation. Science shows us how improbable everything is. A perfectly balanced planet, a synchronized body, a universe tuned like music. Nietzsche would say, without music, life would be a mistake. Plato would agree, the cosmos is an eternal melody, and we are notes within it. But instead of dancing, we live out of tune, trapped by haste, digital anxiety, and the endless pursuit of more. Ignorance is believing that the meaning of life lies outside of it. The result is boredom, emptiness, the loss of beauty. The philosophical solution: to recognize the sacred in the everyday. Washing dishes, walking, breathing, everything can be philosophy when done with awareness and presence. True philosophical wisdom is learning to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. Because when you realize that even chaos has harmony, you begin to understand what Plato called divine reason. And in that moment, existence stops being random and becomes a dance again. And you, do you still feel the magic of being alive, or does everything already seem too automatic? Answer in the comments. Plato said the cosmos is a divine work of art created by the ordering reason, the demiurge. But if the universe is a perfect creation, why does it seem so full of chaos, pain, and contradiction? Perhaps because we humans take everything too seriously. And in trying to control what's uncontrollable, we lose the laughter of the gods, that laughter born from understanding that life itself is a sacred game. Think about it. Have you noticed how we react to the unpredictable? A mistake, a stumble, a failed plan, and we immediately feel anger, fear, frustration. But Plato and Socrates would say the world isn't a system meant to fit our desires. It's a theater for the soul, where we learn through contrast. The cosmic comedy lies in the fact that while we're busy trying to decipher the universe, it's simply dancing. The philosopher Seneca said, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." The demiurge creates the universe with lightness, not rigidity. And when humanity loses that lightness, it also loses harmony with the whole. We live trying to make everything make sense, when the very meaning of life is to live in harmony with mystery. Ignorance is believing that everything must be justified rationally. The result is suffering over what cannot be controlled. The philosophical solution: learning to laugh at the absurd, not with irony, but with wisdom. True laughter is spiritual. It's born from acceptance. When you understand that the cosmos is also comic, something shifts. The weight of existence dissolves, and the soul becomes light. Because, after all, angels, as Chesterton said, fly because they take themselves lightly. The universe is a stage, and life a play where improvisation is the very meaning. And you? Have you managed to laugh at your own illusions? Or are you still trying to control the uncontrollable? Plato saw the soul as a winged bird, eternal, yet forgetful of its flight. At birth, it plunges into the sensible world, clothed in flesh and time, and forgets its divine origin. That's why we live so heavily, bound to desires, goals, and comparisons that pull us downward. Lightness isn't earned, it's remembered. Have you noticed how we carry the world on our backs? Worries, expectations, vanity, as if every notification were a stone. We seek approval online, forgetting that, as Socrates said, the soul heals when it knows itself. The problem isn't the weight of life, but the forgetting of who we are. The philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens that disturbs you, but how you interpret what happens." Plato would add, "Those who see life through the eyes of the soul perceive the invisible." A light soul isn't one that avoids pain, but one that transforms pain into learning. A kind of reminiscence that reveals wisdom. Ignorance is believing the soul is measured by achievements. The result is anxiety, exhaustion, fear of failure. The philosophical solution is a return to contemplation, to stop, breathe, and realize that nothing is missing. Lightness is born when consciousness aligns with the harmony of the cosmos. In the music of existence, the soul is the instrument, and the universe the conductor. When we tune our being to divine reason, life becomes a smooth, almost silent flow. It's in that silence that serenity lives. But pay attention, lightness is not escape, it's strength. It takes courage to let go of what weighs you down and to rediscover what is essential. And you? Have you been living like a winged soul? Or like a stone trying to fly? Answer in the comments. We live as if life were a race, an invisible finish line where one day we'll finally be happy. But what if that line never existed? What if the future is just a mirage, an invention created by a mind afraid of the now? Plato saw time as a shadow of eternity, and Socrates, with his serene gaze, would ask, "Why are you in such a hurry if the soul is eternal?" Today, humanity lives enslaved by speed. We work too much, consume too much, think too much. We go to sleep in 2030 and wake up exhausted from 2025. Ignorance is believing that tomorrow will bring the meaning today cannot. The result is the collapse of the soul, anxiety, emptiness, alienation. The heavy soul runs, but never arrives. And then comes the confrontation. The unexamined life is not worth living, said Socrates. That phrase, simple and brutal, is a sentence against modern distraction, because to live without reflection is to exist on autopilot. It's to watch your own life like a series, pressing next episode without remembering the last. But there is a way out, the philosophical solution, presence, to be fully in the now, like the musician who plays without thinking about the last note. Plato would say that time is not a line, but a circle, a cycle of learning and reminiscence. The future is not destiny, it's repetition until the lesson is learned. And when you learn, time stops being a prison and becomes a dance. Breathe. You're not late. You're exactly where the universe placed you to understand something. Serenity comes when you abandon the race and move in the rhythm of cosmic harmony. And what if everything you believe about progress is an illusion? What if true success is simply being conscious? What if what you've been seeking has been within you all along? Think about it. The wise soul doesn't run. It walks with time, not after it. And you? Have you been living as someone running from life or as someone walking with it? Answer in the comments. Plato said the cosmos is a perfect melody created by the demiurge, the ordering principle that composes the universe with reason and beauty. And we, each of us, are notes in that symphony. But look, at some point we forgot that being part of the music is more important than being the soloist. We began competing with the orchestra, and the result is dissonance. Think about our routines, alarms, deadlines, endless feeds. Life has become a rushed metronome, measuring time but not rhythm. We run so much that we can no longer hear the sound of our own existence. And that's why so many feel lost, because when the inner sound goes silent, the soul loses its beat. The philosopher Aristotle said that virtue lies in the middle, in the right measure. Plato would add, balance is the foundation of the soul's harmony. The music of life doesn't need to be perfect, it needs to be true. Dissonance is also part of the melody, and that's what makes the human song so beautiful. Ignorance is believing that living well means eliminating chaos. The result is fear of mistakes, rigidity, excessive control. The philosophical solution, to dance with the unpredictable, to accept that the universe isn't a fixed score, but a divine improvisation. And when we dance consciously, we become part of what Plato called cosmic order. See, when you laugh, when you love, when you forgive, the universe vibrates in tune. The light soul plays its own note in the great concert of existence. And every act of kindness is like a string vibrating in harmony with the good. That's why living is about playing the instrument you've been given, even if it goes out of tune sometimes. Because beauty, said Socrates, is the splendor of truth. And truth, when lived with awareness, becomes music. And you, have you been hearing the melody of your life, or just the noise of the world? Answer in the comments. Plato believed the universe is a sacred game. Everything that exists, from the movement of the stars to the smile of a child, participates in this invisible game, where the soul experiences, learns, and remembers what it already is. But we, so serious, so adult, have forgotten how to play with life. We've turned existence into duty, joy into guilt, and lightness into weakness. Think about social media. Everything is competition. Who's happier, more productive, more enlightened? But this race for validation is the opposite of philosophy, because the soul that seeks external recognition loses contact with the intelligible world, where true value resides, the value of awakened consciousness. Plato would say, "Do not seek outside what already lives within you." Ignorance is believing happiness is a destination. The result is living in lack, always searching, always tired. The philosophical solution is simple yet profound: to participate in life instead of observing it. It's not about understanding the universe, but dancing with it. When we accept that we are part of the flow, suffering turns into learning, and chance into harmony. The philosopher Seneca said, "Life is not short, we just waste it. And we waste it because we forget to admire. To admire is the first step toward wisdom. It's opening your eyes and realizing that to exist is already a divine privilege." The simple act of breathing is philosophy in motion, the soul playing the rhythm of the cosmos. True joy doesn't shout, flaunt, or seek applause. It's as silent as sunrise, steady as virtue, and light as the wind. It's the laughter born from understanding that everything is imperfect and therefore perfect. Philosophical wisdom is this: understanding that to live is to dance between chaos and order, laughter and tears, mistakes and truth, all within a universe that doesn't want to be deciphered but lived with presence. Plato concluded that the soul is a traveler between two worlds, the sensible, where we feel, and the intelligible, where we understand. Between these two realms, we dance. Each choice, each mistake, each tear is a step in that invisible choreography the cosmos teaches, the one we call life. But to dance requires listening, and few still know how to hear the music of their own being. We live in an age where everything is noise, opinions, news, algorithms. The soul cries for silence, but the mind won't allow it. And in that noise, we forget who we are. Like a dancer who's lost the rhythm, we struggle between duty and desire, trying to impose meaning on what should simply flow. Socrates would call us back to the essential, know thyself. That is the hardest step in the dance, because to know yourself is to strip off the masks, social, emotional, digital. It's realizing that behind appearances, there is a soul seeking harmony with the good, the beautiful, and the true. The universe doesn't judge us. It simply invites, come dance. The demiurge, divine reason, doesn't demand perfection, can only participation. Ignorance is trying to control the rhythm of life. The result is discord, guilt, resistance, suffering. The philosophical solution is conscious surrender, the movement of the soul that recognizes existence as participation in mystery. Lightness doesn't come from control, but from trust that a cosmic order conducts the symphony. When the soul joins the dance, duality dissolves. The past stops weighing, the future stops mattering, and the present becomes eternal. Plato would call this living in harmony with the good. We call it peace. Serenity is born when we stop fighting the flow and learn to float with it. To live, after all, is to dance between the visible and the invisible, the human and the divine, the sound and the silence. And you? Have you been dancing with life or still trying to forcefully lead it? Answer in the comments. We've reached the end, or perhaps the beginning, because every philosophical ending is, in truth, a return to the origin. Plato would say that the soul, after wandering between shadows and lights, returns to the intelligible world with greater awareness of what the good is. And what is the good? It's the state in which everything fulfills its purpose in harmony with the cosmos. It's the lightness we feel when we stop resisting life and begin to participate in it. Throughout this reflection, we've walked between childhood and wonder, between chaos and music, between laughter and contemplation. We discovered that the universe is a living symphony, And philosophy is the invitation to hear that melody with an awakened soul. Nothing is separate. The human and the divine dance together like notes that complete each other. Philosophical wisdom isn't in books, but in the way we see the world, with admiration, with presence, with love for what is. Life, after all, is an invention, not in the sense of falsehood, but of creation. Each thought shapes a fragment of reality, each choice a new harmony. We are co-authors of the universe, apprentices of the demiurge. And true philosophy is not escaping the world, but living in it consciously until the ordinary becomes sacred. So, the next time you look at the sky, remember, you are not outside the dance. You are the dance. The soul, when awakened, doesn't seek meaning. It is meaning itself. Today, take a pause. Observe the ordinary, a falling leaf, the sound of laughter, the touch of the wind, and realize that the entire universe is there, whole, perfect. If this reflection touched you, comment, "I choose to dance with life." Share this video with someone who needs to remember that there is still beauty in the now. The next step may reveal something even deeper. What happens when the soul discovers that reality also dreams?